After 3 months of using SparkLoop on my ConvertKit newsletter, to try to just earn some extra income from my newsletter, it didn't make a single cent from those SparkLoop recommendations. So, after hearing so much about Beehiiv ads and Beehiiv boosts, decided to take my ConvertKit newsletter for Skip Blast, move it over to Beehiiv just to see if I could make money there. Today I'll be showing you exactly how long it took for me to get my very first ad on Beehiiv, how much I made from the ads that I got on Beehiiv for my newsletter in the first 30 days, and at the end of this video I'll show you the exact amount that I made for those first 30 days. One thing I found when I moved my newsletter from ConvertKit to Beehiiv is that you get instant access to the Beehiiv ads network from day one as long as you have a paid account, whereas as of today with ConvertKit, their ads program is still in beta, so not everyone gets access to it, no matter if you're on a paid account or a free newsletter account. I sent a total of 3 newsletters out to my list over 11 days before I got my very first advertising opportunity on Beehiiv. Now you might think, 11 days, that only leaves, about 20 more days in the month, right? So how much could I actually make from this new newsletter that I'd moved over to Beehiiv? Well, I'm going to tell you that later on in this video. But first, I was a little worried as to how my audience was going to react to the ads in the newsletter because I'd been building my Skip Blast list for years. And with, not counting the odd, sponsor here and there, for an affiliate program, I didn't really regularly hit my audience with ads, so I didn't really know how they were going to react to that. So here's the thing. When you get an ad from the Beehiiv ad network, it takes about 4 days before you get that earnings report to tell you, how many valid clicks you had and how much you actually made from running that ad. Now, the reason that takes so long is because valid clicks tend to be a full 72 hours from when you send that email. I'm not sure if that's the same for, every single ad on Beehiiv or if it's just the kind of advertisers that I have happened to, to have gotten with my newsletter. But without fail, 72 hours, the clicks are valid, and then not too long after that, you get your report that tells you number of valid clicks, like I said, and the earnings that you made. So that list, when I moved it, it had a few thousand subscribers. So I want to show you exactly how many clicks I got from that very first ad and how much that made. Okay, this shows you exactly how much I made from that very first ad. I only got 4 valid clicks for the ad, and that made me $12.80. So I have a couple of thoughts on that. First, 4 clicks, that's not very many. These days I tend to have quite a few more clicks, although not a ton. So I think part of the reason why there were only 4 clicks is because this is the very first time that my audience was seeing ads like this. But at the end of the day, $12.80, though it's not a lot of money, it's more than I made from SparkLoop from 3 months, right? Because I didn't make a single cent from SparkLoop. But at the end of the day, with only 4 clicks and only $12.80, I was asking myself, is this really worth it? In the end, is it really worth doing this? Because, at the time, I was only emailing my list twice a week. So if the earnings remain the same for every ad that I got, and I could fill, those 8 ad slots in a single month, I was going to be looking at just over $100. And there was still the potential of alienating my audience by hitting them with these ads in every single email. So, like I said, I asked myself, is this really going to be worth it? But I decided to try it out for at least 30 days so that I would have enough data to make a decision on if it was the right choice for me and my list. And here's the thing I didn't tell you. My unsubscribes more than doubled when I sent out this newsletter with this very first ad. So I was a little nervous. I really didn't know if I was making the right choice here. But then something happened. I got 3 more advertising opportunities not too long afterwards, and then a few more rolled in. Actually, in my first 30 days of moving this list to Beehiiv, I ended up with a total of 8 ads to run. And that was perfect because, like I said, at the time, I was only emailing my list twice a week, so I filled all of my ad spots. And I've already showed you what my very first ad looked like in terms of how many clicks it got and how much money came in from that. But that wasn't actually my worst performing ad, at least in terms of revenue. As you can see on the screen here, my very last ad of the month in that first 30 days was actually my worst performing ad. It also got only 4 clicks, but it also made only $4.80. Can you imagine if that had been my very first ad? Like, I wasn't too over the moon about the $12.80, but $4.80, that's a lot different, right? Now I want to show you what my best performing ad looks like for those first 30 days. As you can see on the screen here, this ad, not only did it get me a whopping 22 clicks from my newsletter that day, it brought in $70.40. That's crazy, especially considering only 22 clicks. And my list is pretty small because what I didn't tell you is that not too long after I moved my list over to Beehiiv from ConvertKit, I did a mass purging of all of the accounts that weren't really interacting well, anything that was completely cold. So what I ended up with was actually just over 1,400 subscribers. So when you look at those numbers, this is not that bad, right? Best performing day, 22 clicks out of just over 1,400 subscribers. Imagine if you had a bigger list, right? Now, in a moment, I'm going to share with you exactly how much my newsletter brought in from Beehiiv ads in those first 30 days. But first, remember how I said I was kind of concerned on how my audience was going to react, to all these ads, being in the newsletter where they had had 0 ads in the past. And then that very first send with an ad, my unsubscribe rate more than doubled. Well, guess what? I didn't get any complaints. And it was only that very first ad where my unsubscribe rate was kind of crazy. Overall, in the first 30 days, I had a total of 57 unsubscribes. Now, that's not too crazy, honestly. For my list, that's about average because when you think about it, 57, that's just a little over, maybe around 2 per day, right? Actually, it's a little less. But honestly, like I said, that's about average for my newsletter. Like I said, I've had this newsletter, been growing it for several years. And so that isn't really out of the ordinary for me. So I'm pretty happy about seeing that. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I've actually been using Beehiiv ads for this newsletter now for more than 90 days, I think. So I'm actually going to create some more videos showing you exactly how much money I made in the first 60 days as well as the first 90 days, just to give you an idea of how that kind of compounds over time and what kind of true potential you could see by moving your newsletter to Beehiiv, and taking those ad opportunities as they come to you. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll get notified when those videos come out. I also have a new school community where I share updates like this kind of more in real time since it takes me a while to make these videos. So if you want to keep up with this kind of data, like I said, more in real time, you can click the link in the description below to join my school community. And now, what you are really interested in, right? How much did my newsletter with, most of the month only just over 1,400 subscribers make in those first 30 days of using the Beehiiv ads, right? Just to recap, 30 days, most of the month was just over 1,400 subscribers. Started out a little more than that, though, like I said, a few thousand. Total of 8 ads, across 30 days. You saw that the high there was over $70 and the low brought in less than $5. You got any guesses on how much I made? Okay, well, let me just do a quick scroll through here showing you the amount per advertiser and newsletter. Then I'll give you the big total, so don't worry about having to, pause the video so you can get out your calculator, because I'm going to give you all the details. But let me just scroll through here, like I said, so that you can see the variety both in terms of clicks as well as earnings. If you've never used Beehiiv before, this first number you see here is going to be, well, it's going to be your smaller number, quite honestly. That's going to be the number of valid clicks that were approved. The next number is the number of people who viewed the email. Keep in mind, though, these numbers are not actually accurate because of people who are using, like privacy inboxes, people who are reading maybe on their iPhone, where things like that don't get tracked. But you can kind of use it as a baseline number of seeing how things are performing for my newsletter. That way, if you are doing your own newsletter, maybe thinking of porting it over to Beehiiv, you can kind of do some back of the napkin math and see what you come up with. Okay, so now big reveal. How much did I make? Okay, so the grand total for those first 30 days on Beehiiv, just from the ads network, so not from Boost or anything like that, $217.80. Now keep in mind, that was just 8 ads, for that entire 30 days, right? Most of the time, like I said, there were only just over 1,400 people on my newsletter list there. So that averages out to maybe a little over $27 roughly per send. So that's pretty high. I will go ahead and spoiler alert for you now. These days, my average per send is not quite $27. But maybe, like I said, maybe for you and your niche, that will be true. But pretty impressive numbers for the first 30 days, right? And remember, I spent like 3 months when I was on ConvertKit trying to earn, stuff from SparkLoop, and I earned absolutely nothing. I'm not really going to share how much I've earned from Beehiiv Boost for this newsletter because, frankly, it's a small amount, and I'm not even really doing it anymore because it's not worth my time. But actually, all things considered, even the small amount that I've made from Beehiiv Boost has been more than I've made from SparkLoop, so that's something to think about as well. So if you're not already on my email list and you're thinking like, man, what the hell is this email list that she's got? Want to see if it's something that you could do as well and try to earn the same amount of money from, you can go to skipblast.com/email to get on my list and check it out. I'll also put that link down in the description below so that you can just click through if you want. And hey, if you're not on Beehiiv right now, you can use my link, which is in the description below. You'll get your first 30 days on the platform for free. And then for your first 3 months, you'll get a crazy 20% off. So like I said, if you are not already on Beehiiv, I think you should definitely move over and try it out. I don't know if you'll see the same types of earnings that I am or not, because I have a feeling it really varies, by whatever industry or niche that you're in. But I find it to be a really great way to earn money from something I'm already sending out anyway. So check it out and let me know how it goes for you.